Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Friday the 3rd of February here in Tokyo, Japan. What is up? What is good? So today I want to do a short episode on how to escalate. Because escalation seems to be an issue for a lot of guys. Just escalating with chicks. Some guys don't have a problem talking to girls, even approaching girls. Some guys they're confident enough to do that, but where they mess up is they don't know how to flirt or they don't know how to escalate. That's a problem for a lot of guys. And that's one of the most important things about seduction is being able to escalate with women in a flirtatious and sexual manner in a way that's like calibrated is not creepy, is not weird, is not going to get you in trouble. Um, that's like obviously important. You need to be able to read a woman. You need to be able to understand how she's feeling. You need to be able to just do things appropriately in the right place, the right time. And I just gonna talk about that today. So, I mean, obviously, like it varies depending on the location. I mean, for example, if I go out to a nightclub and like escalating in a nightclub is a lot different to escalating in like on a date, like on a coffee date. It's a completely different thing. One of the fun things about nightclubs is that you can escalate a lot faster. I mean, I haven't even been to a nightclub in yeah, I don't think I've been to a nightclub in 2023. Yeah. Oh no, I did in Dublin. I went in Dublin in the new year. But anyway, I mean, it was since I came back to Japan. Anyway, I haven't been to a nightclub since I came back to Japan. I mean, nightclubs can be fun, but I don't really miss them. I mean, this year for me is more focusing on just like fitness, health. Obviously, going to continue to do the day game and stuff. That's just like as long as I'm a straight male and I'm single and yeah, day game's just going to be a part of my life. It's just an awesome way to pick up hot women and enjoy life and have great sex with beautiful women. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, if you're in a nightclub, um, yeah, escalation can be a lot quicker just because of the environment, because of the opportunity to dance, because of the kind of music that's there. Um, because chicks, like if there's hip hop music playing in the club, like, and girls be twerking their asses, grinding, all that stuff. Obviously, if you're on a coffee date with a chick, you can't like have a girl grinding on your dick in the fucking coffee shop. Oh, well, I've certainly not done it yet. Not in the coffee shop. Not yet. Gotta try it out. Nah, but seriously, like, it just you get what I'm saying. In a nightclub, you can escalate in a way that's just a lot faster. A lot, you don't even a lot of the time you don't even have to talk to a girl, but you still need to be kind of calibrated about it. You can't just go up to a girl and grab a girl, or it's just you just can't do that. Um, and it's like you don't. It's not even hard to do. I mean, imagine a simple way to put it. You see a girl in the nightclub, you want to talk to, you want to hit on her. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is what I like. If I see a hot girl in the nightclub, I'll go up to her and I'll like same thing as I would do on a cold approach in the street. I would say, hey, how are you? I like your style. Compliment. Introduction. When I introduce myself, absolutely 100% necessary that you like shake their hand. And sometimes in a nightclub situation, I'll I'll take her hand, and when I'm introducing myself, I'll hold on to her hand as long as she's cool with me letting me hold her hand, not pulling away. That's another thing you need to pay attention to. If you shake her hand, she pulls her hand away. She's like, okay, this girl is not she's not being very receptive. Like she's pulling her hand away, but just when I'm trying to shake her hand. So it kind of tells you all you need to know. So pay attention to these kind of things too. It tells you that she's not that interested. But anyway, if she is interested, she won't like pull her hand away. And I'll spin around and I'll be like, damn, I like your style. You're sexy. And I like you can be way more flirtatious in a nightclub. Damn, you're fucking sexy. Like spin around. Girls love that, by the way. Well, if they like you, some girl just won't let you spin them, and it's like, okay, she's not playing ball. Um, if a girl doesn't like spin around for you, like when you take her hand, because most girls want it. They're in a nightclub, they're having fun. It's it's probably near a dance floor. They're gonna let you spin them around. They're gonna be like, oh my god. And they're gonna enjoy getting complimented. But if she's like rigid and she refuses, she's like, no, you spin around or something like that. Being kind of comfort. Yeah, that's happened to me before. It's like, no, how about you spin around? I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, you're not interested. Fine, no problem. But that's just one way to escalate, like spin them around, like you're telling them that you're like really looking them up and down as you spin them, and like if a girl is like likes what she sees, she'll enjoy that. She'll enjoy you ogling her and like complimenting her dress and her body or whatever. So yeah, after you spin around, like just like ideally it doesn't need to be a dance floor, but if it is a dance floor, like a lot of time you can just start dancing with her, getting closer to her, spin around, get her back facing you. She can start grinding on you. That's how quick you can escalate in a nightclub. Um, so it all starts with the touch of hand. Escalation, not like touch of hands, of her hand to your hand. That's how you can escalate in every situation. In every kind of situation, you escalate through touch of hand, whether it's a nightclub, whether it's the street, wherever it may be. Just because it's very inoffensive to um shake a girl's hand or hold her hand. And if the girl is being offended by it, if she is not comfortable, if she's pulling her hand away and she's not like, oh, don't touch my hand, it's like, okay, fine, no problem. Like she's telling you all you need to know. um that's just that's perfect. Okay, great. I don't need to waste time with this girl. You know what I mean? Because I mean, back when I was much more inexperienced, way more, way stupider regarding pickup and game. Like I would go to nightclubs and yeah, obviously I would do night game. But I remember one time, not only one time, I'm sure it's happened many times, but there was one situation where I went up to a girl and I was like, "Hey, let's have a drink." By the way, you should never do that. This was back in the day. You never lead with. That's another thing. Never lead with "let's have a drink" because most girls are going to say yes, even though they're not into you. They're going to take the drink and then they're going to say the classic line. We all know what it is. Oh, I lost my friends. Don't fucking lead with, "Can I buy you a drink?" It's stupid. But yeah, one time I was, I did that, and the girl was like, oh, okay, sure. And as I was late, she was kind of walking ahead of me, and I kind of put my hand on her back as we were walking up like a small stairs, um, just on her back, not on her ass or anything like that. And she kind of like did this really kind of awkward, like don't touch me kind of gesture. And I was like, all right, okay, that's she's telling me all, like even back then when I was blue pilled regarding game and pickup, like even then I knew, okay, she's definitely not interested in me, because it was a crowded nightclub, and I was just like kind of like, okay, she's with me, I'm gonna buy her a drink, kind of putting her hand, leading her to the bar, putting my hand on her back, and she kind of did this like shoulder shrug, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like buy you a drink. And I remember it was at a crowded nightclub, and I was just like, nah, I'm not having this. So it was so crowded, I just slipped off and I fucked off. I didn't even tell her I didn't even get into it with her. I didn't say, hey, like, oh, I was like, nah. She just explicitly told me that she just doesn't want me to touch her in any way, and that's perfectly fine. And I just wasn't gonna go ahead, and because the only reason I'm not going around buying drinks for random girls just to buy, I'm buying drinks to like flirt and hook up and get intimate. That's there's a reason. Like I don't know what these girls think, but anyway, I'm just saying you got to pay attention to these things. A lot of guys, even me as being blue pilled, a lot of guys would just be like, oh, okay, and go ahead and still wait in line, wait like 10 minutes, give her drink, and then she says, oh, oh, thank you. Sometimes they won't even say thank you for the drink. But anyway, and they'll say the classic line, oh, I lost my friends. I have to find my friends. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you later. Like, no, just don't do that. Just pay attention to their body language. Well, first of all, number one, don't lead with "Can I buy you a drink?" It's so stupid. You're just gonna get played constantly. I mean, you're just not reading any signs. The girl's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll have a drink," but you haven't read. You don't know if she's into it at all. Talk to them for a good bit before you buy them. It's not that you can't buy them a drink. Of course, you can buy a girl a drink, but it's establish some receptivity, establish some groundwork. Establish that she's comfortable talking to you, and she's actually does want to talk to you, and she's not just trying to get a free drink. Um, Study says, "How are you? Can talk about how same day lays happen. Same day lays. That's a whole topic. But um, I mean, yeah, I've talked about them a lot before, but um, yeah, I mean, same day lays. Same day lays are the ideal way to get laid. Because the thing about game is like time kills all deals. Not all deals, but the sooner you can get laid, the better. The sooner you do it, the better. Because the thing is, especially if a girl's like if a girl is like a 7, 8, 9, or a 10, we're talking like a hot girl. Sometimes these girls just have so much options and so much going on in their life that even though a girl, say if you go and meet a girl, you will cold approach a girl on the street, and she's hot as fuck. She's an 8 out. She's just super hot. Like she's just a sexy girl, and you approach her, and it turns out she's free. She's just in town shopping. She doesn't have to be anywhere. But you just decide just to get her, and she's very receptive to you, and she's giving you all these signs that she would be free to hang out, or have a coffee or a drink or whatever. But you just decide to get her number. The crazy thing is, like, if you just get her number, and then you message her even that evening or that night, like the girl already has probably other guys messaging her, and then she kind of like maybe forgets about you. So I'm just saying, if you miss your chance. However, if you had decided to do an insta date with her, you could have fucked her. I'm just saying it's kind of how chicks operate, to be honest. It really is that simple. They kind of operate in how they're feeling in the moment, and if it's convenient. Same day lays, there's a lot of strategy to it. There's a lot of basic common sense things that guys don't think about. A lot of guys, first of all, most guys think same day lays are barely possible. Most guys think that shit doesn't really happen, but it's not only can they happen, it's like I said, it's the ideal situation. I know a guy in Tokyo that fuck's sake. I know a guy in Tokyo that like I think more than 90% he gets laid a lot. He does a lot of cold approach. I think he does majority cold approach, does some night game too, but the majority of his lays are same day lays. Same day lays. Because he just has the setup, he knows what to do. Um and the setup is location is for same day lays. Location is absolutely not everything, but it's super 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 important for same day lay. Like the closer your hotel apartment is, or hotel apartment or private place that you can have sex in, it can be anything as long as it's a private comfortable place, as long as it's a place that you're able to have sex in, that's near the spot where you did the pickup. Because like I said, convenience makes it a lot easier. For example, if you pick up a girl and you're like, hey, let's have a coffee, and you take her for a coffee, and the goal is to have sex with her. You want to have sex with her. So but you live like 20 minutes away. You have to get on a train or you have to get a taxi. Basically, it's too much of a commitment a lot of the time. Um, for a girl that you've just met to come in a taxi with you or get on a train, and it's just too much of a commitment. But it's crazy. It's not too much of a commitment for them to come into your place if it's very near, if it's in within walking distance. And it sounds crazy like that. Oh, she won't get in the taxi with you, but she'll come into your apartment if it's near. You know what I mean? It's just because it's convenient. It's there. There's not much thinking to be done. It's like it's right there. But if it's like, oh, let's go to my place and watch a movie, like, oh, where's your place? Oh, we have to get a taxi. And then it's like, oh, and then they start overthinking it, and then it turns them off. So like I said, location is walking distance for same day lays is a huge benefit. Huge. It helps so much. So if you can live downtown in like in a busy area with a lot of girls walking around. Thankfully, in Tokyo, there's areas in Tokyo that has hot girls walking around 24/7. It's like nothing you'll ever have seen before. It's wild. There's some places in Tokyo that just has such a dense population of hot girls that I don't think there's anywhere like it in the world, actually. Some places. So if you live near there, it's fucking paradise. It's a pickup paradise, and it's not that pickup is easy. It's not at all. It's just that at least the playground is large, as in there's a lot of eligible young ladies, let's just say, that are just walking around. So that's why it's so good for pickup. But yeah, location. The basic framework for a same day lay is like being quick with it. Not like it's just shocking what some girls will do. It's not even shocking. Like it still kind of makes me. It's the reason day game never gets boring because, well, first of all, it's not easy, so it takes skill. So that for that reason, it doesn't get boring as well. But but it's always amazing. Like you can, if you meet the right girl from day game, you can be having sex with her less than an hour after meeting her. A complete strange, like I'm talking day game, cold approach, it's still bright outside. You can be having sex with a girl in your apartment, like less than an hour after meeting them. If you play your cards right and she's into you and it's all smooth. Yeah, and it's happened to me many times. But there's certain things that need to be in place. Yeah, and location is certainly up there with number one. The basic framework is the cold approach, the cold approach, establish some rapport, establish whether or not she's free or not. That's very important. What's she doing? Like, so that's one of the first few questions I ask. So, what are you up to today? What are you doing today? So you establish, because sometimes they might be busy. They're busy. They're going somewhere. You can't. They're not. It's not going to be possible to do a same day lay with them. So establish that first. As a good sign is if they say they're shopping. They're free. They're walking around. There's a bunch of things they could say to let you know that they're available. So that's tick that off first. They're available. Okay. Then you invite them. You invite them to have coffee. Or you have to invite them to do something with you because you have to like have plausible deniability. Or you can just gives you time to build up more rapport with them. So the most common, easiest one to do is coffee. Like coffee, you don't need to have a drink. Like real game doesn't involve alcohol. Like if you, real fucking 100% game, you don't need alcohol. You don't even need to go for an alcoholic drink. It's not that you cannot go for an alcoholic drink. Of course you can go if you want, but I'm just saying you don't need to go for an alcoholic drink. in the daytime. Like, you don't need to do it. You go for a coffee. Solid game. Stone cold sober sex is the best sex in my opinion. Anyway, um, so anyway, yeah, I do coffee all the time. It's just a common one. It's afternoon. It's a perfect one to do. Like, let's just go to Starbucks. Basic shit. If it's a nice day outside, get the coffee to go, and like kind of be assertive. Like, don't be asking them, oh, which coffee shop would you like to go to? Oh, where would you like to go? No, you're inviting them, so you decide. I mean, you shoot out the invitation and you say, hey, let's go to Starbucks. How about that? You know, um, you're shooting out the invitation. You're not like saying, oh, do you know a coffee shop to go? Do you know where anywhere you would like to go to? No, idiot. No, you're stupid if you do that, because then the girl's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know anywhere. Maybe next. Let's go next time." You know what I mean? You're shooting yourself in the foot when you're not assertive, when you're not like leading. You're absolutely sure. Like, man, I used to be like that when I was way younger. Like, totally clueless about pickup and game and women in general. Like, I would be like, oh, not deciding stuff. You have to decide as the dude. So that's number one. You know, they're coming on they agreed to come on the coffee date with you, and then if it's a nice day outside, like I said, get the coffees to go. Get the coffees to go, and this is where location really is important. Location is important because once you get the coffees to go, you're just going to walk towards your place. You know, you just tell the girls, let's go for a walk. You don't need to say to the girls, hey, let's go to my place. I mean, if your place is near there anyway, just walk there. And when you get near your place, the nearer you are, the better. By the way, you should be escalating all physically escalating all throughout this interaction. And it doesn't need to be, I mean, I'm not talking about making out with them. I'm not talking about like being overtly sexual, just light touches, um, light touch on her back as you're walking, touch her shoulder, touch your hand a little bit. And this makes escalating to sex much less awkward and way easier, way smoother. Because if you haven't been escalating touching a girl at all, you're just completely haven't touched her at all, it's like she's completely turned off in that sense. She and then when it comes to escalating to a kiss, it becomes this like barrier. There's this wall to it. But even if you've just been kind of touching her hand, holding her hand, you've been escalating gradually. It makes getting in for that kiss like 100 times easier, 100 times less awkward. If you've just gradually from the get-go, from the moment you met her, you kind of introduce yourself, you shook her hand in a flirtatious manner. That's very important. When you shake your girl's hand, it has to be very flirtatious, as in it's almost like you kind of massage her hand a little bit. And then like depending on how receptive she is to you doing that, it's like you can read a lot from that. But that makes ultimately escalating to a kiss and then to sex like 100 times easier, less awkward, everything, because you've just been gradually going in that direction from the start. So yeah, again, when you reach near your place, like maybe it's within visible distance, you don't have to be right outside it, but then you shoot out the idea, hey, how about we watch a movie in my place, or how about we listen to music, or any kind of fucking thing that you can do in your place. It can just be, if she's really into you, you can just say, hey, how about we chill in my place? Like, it can be that simple. Hey, do you want to anything but like, hey, let's go to my place and have sex? That's way too direct. You can't. Girls, it's just too direct. It's not sexy. It's like, hey, let's go to my, like, no, you're not going to say let's go to my place to have sex, even though that's what you want to do. Obviously, it's like it's implied, like you've been flirting with her, you've been touching her hand, and of course, once she's in your place, you're not obviously not forcing her to have sex with you. It's like you still, once a girl is in your place, it doesn't mean the you know the bag is sealed. It doesn't mean, obviously you still have to escalate in your place as well. That's just as important. Just because she's in your place doesn't mean you're just gonna have sex with her. There's been many girls that I've gotten to my place and they didn't have sex with me. There's ways to escalate, and if they're not into it, they're not into it, and that's on to the next one. But you know, they either accept. A lot of the time there'll be last minute resistance. You can expect last minute resistance. As I've just met you. Of course, that'll be the most common one. I just met you. I don't know you. I don't come back to your place, and then you just all you have to do is shoot out your shot. Like try and reassure them that I'm not. Whatever. Like it can be just reassure them. Say, don't worry about it. I'm a cool guy. I'm a cool guy. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna watch a movie and relax. And a lot of time they'll just do 180. 180 days. Oh, okay. Like it's like girls sometimes feel they need to do that to show that they're not easy. To show that they're not easy, they'll be like, "Oh, I don't come in on the first date. I just met you. I don't know you well enough. I'll come in next time." And then you just say, "Oh, are you sure? Let's just go in today. It's like we can relax. It's warmer inside." And then they'll be like, "Oh, okay." Like it's happened to me so many times where it's like they have the last minute resistance, and then you just like casually, calmly say, be a little bit persistent, and they come in. And of course, there's girls that don't come in, that are just like, no, they'll reject you first time, second time, and they're just not going to come in, and that's fine. And you don't even need to be butthurt about it. It's just like it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Getting rejected is part of the game. That's what getting laid. That's why when you succeed, that makes it all the more fun. Like if it was all 100% success, it wouldn't be called a game. You know what I mean? You can't be like 100% successful all the time. There's going to be rejections at every stage. There's going to be rejections on the cold approach. There's going to be rejections when you try to escalate. There's going to be rejections even when you're at the last stage. When you're at the last stage, the girl's in your place. Like you might even be making out with her, but she's just not going to put out. And that's you have to respect that. Just obviously, unless you want to go to jail. But yeah, for real, like it's just that's the basic framework, and I hope that helped. That's a really basic framework. I can't really get into it in much more detail today, but if you want more detail, study says escalating verbally and physically at what speed, pace. Verbally and physically, I'm for the vast majority of girls do not escalate too sexually, like verbally or physically. For most girls, like in public, escalating too sexually can shoot yourself in the foot. If you're too sexual verbally, just I wouldn't go too sexual. I wouldn't start talking about sex too much. And it really does depend on the girl. It really does, because some girls you could do that, but and sometimes some girls will actually initiate it, and it's sometimes it can be like a trap actually. But it's that involves a little too much calibration. But I wouldn't. As a basic rule of thumb, don't escalate sexually verbally until you've started to get down to it, until you've actually started making out with her, and started getting physically sexual with her. So yeah, I mean physically and maybe a little bit verbally, but at what speed, pace? Well, the thing is, I mean, it should be a gradual thing. Like I said, it should be gradual from the start. Like from when you introduce yourself to a girl from cold approach, you shake her hand. That is the beginning of escalation. That right there at the very start, that is escalation. Because although it's just not like shaking someone's hands is so inoffensive, but You can communicate a lot of sexual interest in someone just through the shake of their hand. Trust me, I've gotten full on like fully erect from just shaking a girl's hand, and that translates to them too. When a girl has a soft, sexy hand and you kind of massage it in a certain way, she has her nails done and she's just looking hot. Yeah, it's arousing to be. It should be if you've high testosterone. But the thing is, it's like girls can get aroused as well from massaging or holding their hand. They get aroused as well. It's not just men. So again, never don't underestimate the power of touch of hand. And again, it's great because it's like very inoffensive. You know, it's not like you're grabbing her ass or her tits or like it's. But you can. It's almost like you can it's like you can get a lot of sexual energy just almost just as much, not as much obviously as tits or ass, but there's a lot you can communicate, and that's the most important thing. And it's not even verbal. Like when I shake a girl's hand, I'll kind of like do this, and it's so like it's so obviously flirtatious. It's so obvious, and the girls that aren't into it will just take their hand away, and it's kind of obvious that it'll just be obvious that they're not into it. um but girls that are into it will kind of, sometimes they'll even they'll squeeze back, and it's like a very, it's a sign that, wow, like I just met this girl and she's like squeezing, like you're almost like holding hands sometimes. Like we'll just continue to hold hands because of the way we communicated through touch of hand. Like they held it back, I'm holding it back, and it's a very sexual thing. And it's like it's amazing because you just met this person but you're communicating this sexual desire immediately on the street in public, but it's not, it's very inoffensive to everyone around. Like it doesn't look bad, anyway. So definitely an amazing way to escalate. um yeah, and there's been times when I've done that and I've just known that this girl wants to fuck, like just right after meeting her and to holding her hand, just the way she's held my hand. I've known that, okay, this we're gonna have sex. There's a strong indication that this girl wants to fuck just from holding her hand. um so anyway, I hope that answers your question. um Yeah, I mean, in a case like that, when a girl is communicating strong sexual interest in you by the way she's holding your hand, by the way she's like, maybe she's squeezing your hand back, and like, oh man, there's so much you can do just through hands. Trust me, it's crazy. But if a girl is sending those signals, and like you could almost, if you're bold enough and she's into you and she's freaky enough, because a girl has to be a little bit freaky to be doing this, but like you could almost like walk her back to your place. Still use the plausible deniability. Still don't say, hey, let's go. Don't go and say, hey, let's come back to my place to have sex. Still don't be that much of an it. You don't do that. Like you don't say directly, hey, let's go to my place to have sex. It's too direct. It's not how sexual relations work with men and women, unless you've already established a sexual relationship with them already, and then you can be way more sexual with girls once you've already established a sexual relationship with them. But anyway, you still use plausible deniability, and you can say, let's go back to my place and watch a movie, whatever. Let's listen to music. If you've a dog, hey, let's go and feed my dog, whatever, anything. And like I said, sometimes you can just bypass all the bullshit. You can bypass the coffee, you can bypass, but that involves super fucking good game, super confidence, and it's really hard to pull off unless you're really about it. Unless you really have done, like, you really are that guy that has has the experience, it's hard to pull something like that off. You need to kind of work your way up to that, I would say. Like a beginner can't really pull that off, I think. It takes time to pull that off. Like, as in, like, meet a girl on the street, escalate through touch of hand, like just through game, through talking to her, and walk her directly to your apartment. And then once you're in your apartment, escalate to sex with her in your apartment. And escalating with a girl in your apartment is another game in itself, but that's another stage. Like I said, if just because a girl is back in your place doesn't mean you're gonna have. It's like you have to play the game as well there. Um, Young Gun Hustler says, let's say your conversation is going smooth and some guy swooped in and the woman went with him and leave you. How should we respond to that? It's a good question. At the end of the day, it's up to the women to choose. We can't force any situation. Any situation. Never get in a fight over some bitch. Never get in a fight over some bitch. That is the dumbest ass simp shit you can do. Imagine getting in trouble over a bitch. Imagine going to jail for like fighting over a bitch. Plus, you don't know, that could be your boyfriend. You don't know who the dude is. Um. Uh. So yeah, dude. Like, it's just you win some, you lose some. It really depends. The only situation where I would get in a fight with a guy, where I would, like, defend like my position, is if I'm like, do you know this guy? And she's like, no, I don't know him. I was like, okay, I'd be like, dude, fuck off. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't interrupt me. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is, So, but and the guy continued to persist, like talking to the girl, even though she didn't know him. That's kind of different, but it's different to what your question is, because you're saying she's just gonna leave with him. But like, you kind of nip these situations in the bud. Like, if I'm out, I mean, it depends if it's a night. I mean, stuff like that's very common in a nightclub. But in the like, let's just say it's on the street. So I'm talking to a girl, and like I'm getting on with her. The conversation's going smooth. I'm about to invite her for like a coffee. She's about to come with me, and some guy swoops in and starts like saying, like, talking to her. I'll like, and then it appears that they don't know each other, and I'll be like, I'll just say it directly in front of him. I'll say it to her. Do you know him? And if she says, "Oh yeah, he's my friend," there's you can't be like, "Hey, if she knows him, there's not much you can't be that guy. Hey, dude, fuck up." No, she knows him. You can't like be that rude. You can't be that aggressive to a guy that she knows. It could be her boy. It could be your boyfriend for all you know. But even if it wasn't, it's still not worth fighting. If she didn't know him, if she's like, I don't know him, like, I don't know him, I'd be like, oh, dude, like, I'm talking to her. Like, do you mind? Like, okay, get the fuck out of here. You don't even like, you don't need to even be that aggressive at the start. You be like, oh, sorry, man. Like, I'm in a conversation here. Do you mind? Like, go away. And if he persists, then that's where things escalate. Like, still try and avoid physical altercations, because it's not, it's not legal to do that. It's not legal to have physical altercations with people, especially not in Japan. Someone told me that even self-defense in Japan is illegal, which is fucked up. But I believe it in a way. I knew a guy that went to jail actually for self-defense. Uh yeah, he went to jail. He did like fucking 6 months in prison for self-defense. Um he was this Hawaiian guy. And yeah, I mean, this has come from him. I don't know the full story. I don't know what exactly happened, but according to him, this is what he told me. He told me he got jumped by like three guys. I don't know what started the altercation. Did he do anything? But he ended up beating the fuck out of all three of them, and they got arrested. Both parties got arrested. He ended up going to prison. Apparently, he beat them up too badly, but like, he didn't start it. I think another, if he's telling the truth, if that's what happened, then it's fucked up. Like, even though he got jumped, he still went to prison. So apparently, self defense in Japan is illegal. And I think I've heard that from. Yeah, I would believe it. Anyway, um, so you always try and avoid physical altercations because it just brings bullshit. But yeah, sometimes you're given no choice, like But again, in a nightclub, that's way like on. I don't think that situation has ever happened to me on cold approach from. Well, no, I'm wrong. Okay, so with cold approach from day game, street game, a situation like that is it's super rare. But the only kind of situation is a girl will be there, I'll be talking to her, and then her boyfriend or a guy will come along that was is she's waiting to meet, and then it's like, okay, you know, you can't obviously if a girl is waiting for a guy for a date, and I'm talking to her and she's talking to me, and a guy comes along that was there, she was there to meet. Don't be a fucking dickhead, like you like no, like don't, because you know she's waiting for him. So yeah, in that situation, I was just like, okay, nice to meet you. Have a nice day. I'm not gonna like try and steal some dude's chick right in front of him. It's just a dick mood. Have manners. Just be a decent person. Just be a decent fucking person. I'm like, if someone did that to me, I'd be fucking pissed off. So you know what I mean? If I was going to meet a girl for a date or whatever, and then some guy is like hitting on her, and he's continuing to stay talking to her, like, first of all, it's also the girl's responsibility as well. It's like she's like, you know I'd be pissed off with her, but you get what I'm saying. Just have etiquette. There's etiquette to adhere by. But you know uh in a nightclub situation, um it's super common for guys to cock block and butt in. But same thing. It's like, do you know him? Like, she doesn't know him. It's like, dude, fuck off. Like, I'd be more blunt in a nightclub. I'd be like, okay, fuck off, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? You can't see I'm talking to her. So it's just, so you defend your territory, but you defend your territory, but at the end of the day, it's down to the chick. So don't fight over a bitch that's gonna leave you anyway. If she's like openly like being receptive to the random guy, and like kind of like, it's like, so you'd kind of like tell him to fuck off. But if she's like, going after him, like, fuck, like, don't let her go, man. Obviously. Um obviously let her go. Don't fight over some bitch that is like not being like is going after another guy. That's the worst simp fucking bullshit you could do. Chase a girl that's chasing after another guy. Jesus, like, come on. You're better than that. So don't do that ever. I mean, it's happened to anyone and everyone who's ever had any amount of time in nightclubs. I mean, it's happened to me. I mean, it's just there's nothing you can do about it. It's like, okay, she's fuck her, like, let her off. Like, there's more women. Like, don't get like one-itis over. That's another thing guys do in nightclubs. They get one-itis over some bitch in a nightclub when there's loads of other bitches. And why are you worried about one girl? Okay, she's gone. Like, she's interested in another guy. You cannot change that. So find another girl. Don't waste your time. Um, don't waste your time. Don't be a simp. That's the main thing. Don't be simping after some girl that's like fucking chasing another guy. That is the most pathetic thing you can do if as a dude. If you're chasing a girl that's chasing another guy, that is so lame. And I've seen guys do it. I've seen guys do that shit. It's so fucking lame. Oh, it's the bottom tier. What does that say about your value as a dude? If you're chasing a girl and that girl is chasing another guy, bottom of the barrel. So yeah, let her fucking go. College girl tips. There's colleges I can get to within 20 with 24-hour fast food places by. College girls eat there with friend late night. How to do this? I mean, go and eat there and talk to the girls there. I mean, ideally, the ideal situation is when doing cold approach is to find girls that are alone, because you're alone and she's alone. It's so much less complicated if she's not in a group. So like the best scenario is one. Obviously, the more people she's with, the worse it gets. So like just because it like the more girl, like if you're looking at a girl and you want to hit on her and she's with her friend, you also have to kind of game her friend and be polite to her friend. So it just takes more energy. If she's with three friends, you have to like be polite. You know what I mean? It's just this thing where they all have to approve of you because girls are hard creatures and they really care about what their friends think. And that's the cold hard truth about it. They fucking care. Even if a girl likes you, we've all been there. We've all, like, most of us have anyway. But been in a club and some girl is into you, you're making out with her, you're having a good time with her, and then her friend is like, "Oh, he's a creep. Leave him. Like, don't go with him." And then she'll leave you. She'll leave you, even though she was having, like, she was with you, she was happy with you, she was like really into you. So girls really care about what their friends think in a big way. So ideally, look for a girl that is alone, so you can hit on her, less complications. If not, it's better to do wingman game. Bring a friend so you can like talk to two girls, like, pairs. For me personally, I just prefer to approach girls when they're alone. It's less distractions, less complications. It's just like one on one, the way it is, the way it's supposed to be, and it's the best way. So I mean, it's like cold approach, like you'd cold approach anywhere, man. Just to find a girl that you're attracted to, find a girl that's hot, and if she's alone, like, introduce her, say, "Hey, how are you?" See how she responds. A compliment, introduction, question, and go from there. It's all about breaking the ice. The hardest part is breaking the ice. And the easiest way to break the ice is just say, "Hey, how are you?" See how they respond. And he says, "Oh, I'm fine." And you just compliment them. "Oh, I like your style." You know, it doesn't even need to be a compliment. It could be like, I mean, it's just breaking the ice and talking to them and making them feel comfortable and not awkward. Um, it's easy to just ask them, are you studying here? What are you studying? Um, Stuff like that. See, like, it's some girls will have a hard shell, but if they continue to have that hard shell after like a minute or two of talking to them, then it's most likely that they're just not into you. Like, girls should like soften up pretty quick if you've just like being calm and relaxed, and because some girls will just talk to you out of boredom, or out of, I don't know why, but they'll talk to you, but they're really not into the conversation, and they'll give off signals. They won't be able to help themselves. They'll just, their facial expressions won't be comfortable, and it'll just be obvious that they're not really into the conversation. And in that case, you can just drop it and find another girl. How about this? How do you escalate to a woman with her fat friend guarding her like eggs? I mean, the thing is, like I said, there's not much you can do when a girl and her, all you can do is try and be polite and nice to her friend as well. But if her friend doesn't like you, full stop, she's going to choose her friend over you. Girls will choose their friends over you, unless it's an exceptional situation. But trust me, girls are hard creatures. They will choose their friends over you. So the best thing you can do, and the thing that I've discovered is, when her friend doesn't like you, but the girl herself that you're interested in is receptive to you, the best thing you can do is get her number and bounce out of the situation and hit her up later. That is the best. That is undoubtedly the best situation, because if you stay around, her friend will just dislike you more and more, and eventually they're just going to cut you off anyway. So you might as well leave on a good kind of, like, you haven't, because when a girl's busted fat friend, it doesn't like you, she's just going to dislike you more and more. you, as I said, you can try and be polite to her, you can try and be nice to her, you can you can, but they're just not going to have it sometimes. I mean, the most stereotypical situation happened this to happened to me in Ireland, um, of this, where I was in a nightclub and this hot redhead Irish girl, like hot, you know, when redheads are hot, they're super hot. I find, you know, they're either really ugly or really hot. But you know, she was really, yeah, she was hot, man. She had a nice, sexy body, but she was this gorgeous redhead girl, and her friend was, I'm not joking, she was like, she was as tall as me. I'm 6'1". She was as tall as me, and she was fucking way, she was wider. She was like, I'm honestly, she was an ogre of a woman. She was an absolute ogre of a woman. Giant fucking woman. 6'1" woman. Fat as fuck, like bushy red curly hair. And it was funny because her friend was this gorgeous redhead, like gorgeous sexy body, and you know, her ogre of a friend was just like Shrek, man, like seriously. And she was funny because she was wearing this little dress. She was wearing, and it's just the contrast of how masculine she looked with just her appearance. And I don't, her attitude matched her appearance too. She was an absolute bitch. I was just, you know, talking to her friend and getting on really well with her, getting on well with her friend, flirting, dancing. Her friend was really into me, by the way. And honestly, her friend, she didn't make the first move, but she definitely gave me crazy IOIs, and you know, I didn't initiate that encounter, but you know, I was getting on with her. I was making out with her friend, dancing with her, but her ogre of her friend just like, you know, was coming over. Leave, he's a creep. Leave, like leave her, like leave her. Like she was shouting at me, leave her alone, leave her alone. It was like so stereotypical, like so the most busted girl in the nightclub, like fucking 6'1" monstrous thing. And she was just like, for no reason, hadn't done anything to her, absolutely, like hadn't been rude to her, hadn't like done anything untoward towards her at all. And she was just like, you're a weirdo, you're a creep, fuck off from my friend. And I was like, all right. And I was like, okay. And you know, eventually I just left the situation because it was just too annoying. But I'm just saying, in a normal situation, just get their number because it's not going to improve. That's the cold hard truth. It's not, unless it's like, hey, do you want to come with me or do you want to go with your friend? You just kind of put it to them like that because, you know, and the girl told me she had to stay with her friends. So I was like, okay, or whatever. Again, but similar situations have happened to me in Tokyo, but the girls haven't. Maybe the girls certainly, what her friends weren't as busted at least, but they were as bitchy. Um, and the thing, I've overcome that by just like I said, getting their number, because you're not going to improve the situation. Their friends don't like you. It's just going to get worse. So what you do is you just get their number, and then you can arrange a date and bang them another time. And that's worked out for me in the past, like plenty of times. Um, so it's not ideal. You want to get the same like label. It's not possible if their friends just aren't having it, and they're going to stay with their friends. Um, um, Young Gun Hustler says, true, I've seen guys that are liked by a chick, but her fat friend is cock blocking him. Man, it's so hilarious to see. It's like, I mean, the stereotype is just, it's real. Like ugly girls get really butthurt and angry when they see their hot friends having fun, especially when alcohol is involved, and they lose their inhibitions, and they're just jealous and angry. They're just jealous and angry. That's all it is. They're just jealous, angry, bitter. Um, but yeah, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. I've got some things to do, but as usual, if anyone who's watching this, like, comment, subscribe. If you're replaying it, Obviously, again, like, comment, subscribe, share the content. If you want a consultation, check out the link in the description. You can reach me on Instagram, Mac the Day Gamer. You can best way to contact me probably is DM me on there. You can also email me, whatever. Check out the website. So wherever you're at, have a good day. Peace out.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.